Lesson 7.4, Scale Drawings. Scale drawings and scale models are used to represent objects that are too big or too small to be drawn or built at actual size. The scale gives a ratio that compares the measurements of the drawing or model to the measurements of the real objects. The measurements on a drawing or model are proportional to the measurements on the actual object. Okay? So if we're given a map or a scale drawing, we can figure out, well, how big is it in real life or how far is it in real life? So if we look at letter A, on a map of Arkansas shown, find the actual distance between Clarksville and Little Rock. Use a ruler to measure. So the first thing we do when we're trying to figure out, well, how far is it really? We always need to start with our scale. So they tell us here that our scale is 1 centimeter is equivalent to 20 miles. So every 1 centimeter on our map, that's like going 20 miles in real life. So I'm going to set up my proportion, 1 centimeter over 20 miles. And again, proportions equal each other. Okay? And in a proportion, we have to keep our labels the same. So it's going to be centimeters over miles again. All right? So now I'm going to measure what is the difference from Clarksville to Little Rock. And I would say that it's about 4 centimeters. And then I don't know how many miles that is. That's what I'm trying to find. So I'm going to make that my variable x. So now I need to cross multiply and set them equal to each other. So 1 times x is x. That equals 4 times 20, which is 80. X is already by ourselves. So we would say the distance from Clarksville to Little Rock is about 80 miles. Okay? Another example, if we look at letter B. A scooter is 3.5 feet long. Find the length of a scale model of the scooter if the scale is 1 inch equals 3/4 feet. Okay? So again, when I'm trying to find the actual distance or the actual length of something, I always start with my scale. I always have to set my scale up first. So they tell me it's 1 inch is equivalent to 3/4 feet. Okay? And I'm going to set up a proportion. And in a proportion, again, our labels are always the same. Now I need to fill in, what do I know? What did they give me? Well, they told me that the scooter is 3.5 feet long. So I need to put that by my feet label. And I want to know how many inches would that be in a scale model. So again, when I solve my proportion, I cross multiply, set them equal to each other. So 1 times 3.5 is 3.5. That equals x times 3/4. So we have 3/4 x. Now I need to solve for x. Since I'm multiplying by 3/4, I'm going to divide by 3/4. Okay, and now I have created a complex fraction. So I would have 3.5 divided by 3/4. I need to change my 3.5, my mixed number, to an improper fraction. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So I have 7/2 divided by 3/4. When I divide fractions, I multiply by the reciprocal. So we'd have 7/2 times 4/3. Okay, now I can multiply. I'm going to cross simplify. I know I can take a 2 out of both of those. So then I would get 14/3. Then I have to ask myself, can I simplify 14/3 any farther? Well, nothing goes into 14, that goes into 3. So we would say, in our scale model, this scooter would be 14/3 inches. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the scale factor. So a scale written as a ratio without units in simplest form is called the scale factor. So before we figured out how big would our model be or how far are we actually going in real life, now we're going to figure out what is the scale factor. How would we compare them? So what we're going to do is, in letter C, what is the scale factor of a model car if the scale is 1 inch equals 2 feet? We're going to start with our scale, 1 inch over 2 feet, and we want to get rid of our labels. A scale factor has no labels. So I'm going to take that times. Now, if I have inches in the numerator, I know it needs to go in the denominator to cancel. If I have feet in the denominator, it needs to go in the numerator to cancel. So just like before when we cross-simplified in our fraction, we do the same thing with our labels here. And then I need to fill it in. Well, how many feet are in an inch or how many inches are in a feet? Well, I know in 1 foot, there's 12 inches. Okay, my inches label cancels, my feet label cancels. Now I can multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 12 is 24. So we would say our scale factor is 1 to 24.